Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of my channel. My name is Keika. I'll be going over Campbell's biology textbook, and this video we'll be going over concept 2.4, chemical reactions make and break chemical bonds. So, the making and breaking of chemical bonds leading to changes in composition of matter are called chemical reactions. An example is the reaction between hydrogen and oxygen molecules that form water. This reaction breaks the covalent bonds of H2 and O2 and forms the new bonds of H2O. When we write the equation for our chemical reaction, we use an arrow to indicate the conversion of the starting materials called the reactants to the resulting materials, or products. The coefficients indicate the number of molecules involved. For example, the coefficient 2 before H2 means that the reaction starts with 2 molecules of hydrogen. Notice that all atoms of the reactants must be accounted for in the products. Matter is conserved in a chemical reaction. Reactions cannot create or destroy atoms, but only rearrange, redistribute the electrons among them. Photosynthesis, which takes place within the cells of green plant tissues, is an important biological example of how chemical reactions rearrange matter. Humans and other animals ultimately depend on photosynthesis for food and oxygen, and this process is at the foundation of life in almost all ecosystems. The following summarizes photosynthesis. And here we see a chart. We see carbon dioxide. We see carbon dioxide and water plus sunlight. It gets converted into glucose and oxygen. The raw materials of photosynthesis are carbon dioxide and water, which land plants absorb from the air and soil, respectively. Within the plant cells, sunlight powers the conversion of these ingredients to a sugar called glucose and oxygen molecules, a byproduct that can be seen when released by a water plant. Although photosynthesis is actually a sequence of many chemical reactions, we will end up with the same number and types of atoms that we had when we started. Matter had simply been rearranged with an input of energy provided by sunlight. All chemical reactions are theoretically reversible, with the products of the forward reaction becoming the reactants for the reverse reaction. For example, hydrogen and nitrogen molecules can combine to form ammonia, but ammonia can also decompose to regenerate hydrogen and nitrogen. The two opposite-headed arrows indicate that the reaction is reversible. One of the factors affecting the rate of a reaction is the concentration of reactants. The greater the concentration of reactant molecules, the more frequently they collide with one another and have an opportunity to react and form products. The same holds true for products. As products accumulate, collisions resulting in the reverse reaction become more frequent. Eventually, the forward and reverse reactions occur at the same rate. The relative concentrations of products and reactants stop changing. The point at which the reactions offset one another exactly is called the chemical equilibrium. This is a dynamic equilibrium. Reactions are still going on in both directions, but with no net effect on the concentrations of reactants and products. Equilibrium does not mean that the reactants and products are equal in concentration, but only that their concentrations have been stabilized at a particular ratio. The reaction involving ammonia reaches equilibrium when ammonia decomposes as rapidly as it forms. In some chemical reactions, the equilibrium point may lie so far to the right that these reactions go essentially to completion. That is, virtually all the reactants are converted to products. We will return to the subject of chemical reactions after more detailed study of the various types of molecules that are important to life. In the next chapter, we focus on water, the substance in which all the chemical processes of organisms occur. Okay. So that was a very short one. Let's just go over the notes really quickly. Chemical reactions. The making and breaking of chemical bonds that results in changes in the composition of matter. Reactants. Starting materials. Products. Resulting materials. All atoms of the reactants must be accounted for in the products. It must be balanced. Matter is conserved in a chemical reaction. Reactions can create or destroy Reactions cannot create or destroy atoms, only rearrange the electrons. Photosynthesis. Raw materials are CO2 and H2O, carbon dioxide and water. Sunlight powers the conversion or reaction. The product is glucose and oxygen. Matter is rearranged with the input of energy provided by sunlight. All chemical reactions are theoretically reversible. The rate of a reaction depends on the concentration of reactants. The greater the concentration of reactants, the more frequently they collide to react and form products. As products accumulate, the concentration of products and reactants stop changing. Chemical equilibrium is when the reactions offset one another, meaning that the concentrations have stabilized at a particular ratio. Okay. So that's it for chapter 2. We've gone over concept 2.1. Matter consists of chemical elements in pure form and in combinations called compounds. Concept 2.2. An element's properties depends on the structure of its atoms. Concept 2.3. The formation and function of molecules and ionic compounds depend on chemical bonding between atoms. In this video, concept 2.4, chemical reactions make and break bonds. Okay, so next video we'll be going over chapter 3, which is water and life. Okay, so I'll see you guys next time. Good luck with your studies.